Okay. Rachel Gunn's performance at the Olympics is a clear example of white privilege, and I'm gonna tell you how. I'm DJ Pretty Boy. Welcome to my little man cave. Let's get into some hot takes. All right, by now, like everyone and their mom should have seen Rachel Gunn's Olympic performance. Doing a whole breakdance routine or whatever. But I'm gonna let Jimmy Fallon remind you.
All right. Okay.
Now, obviously, the general consensus is that was pretty bad. Now, I like to try to get as much information as I can before I stand on any opinions of mine. So I actually went and found the footage and I watched her whole performance. And she actually went against like 3 other opponents. So I watched her performance, her opponent's performance, like the other contestants. And I do have to say, it's not as bad as the highlights are making it seem. They're actually worse. All right, I'm playing. They're not worse, but it is bad. It's still bad. Now, one of the questions you should rightfully have is, well, how did this person make it to an Olympic stage? This is the Olympics where the best of the best are supposed to represent their country. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of these things, but I would imagine that in every country with every sport, there's supposed to be some sort of a qualifying round that gets you into the Olympics. And I did get to see some footage of Rachel Gunn's qualifying round. And let me just say, I'm not standing on this because I don't have enough information, but just based on what I saw, Australia, you guys are trash at breakdancing. Now, there are rumors that her husband was on the whatever the council was of judges or whatever that's supposed to oversee. She was involved somehow, but you know what? That doesn't even matter because this whole video is about white privilege, right? And you must be wondering, well, what does Rachel Gunn being bad at breakdancing, what does that have to do with white privilege? Now, before I break it down for you, there's something else I want to show you real quick. This is going to help set the basis of my point. All right, so do you guys remember hip-hop instructor Dena Rizzo?
Hey, I'm Dena. Look at my feet. My feet are straight ahead. You don't want to do that. You want to turn your feet out. I'm going to do this backwards. And that's what makes it look like hip-hop. What this is with hip-hop is everything.
What we're seeing here is this white lady who's clearly not of hip-hop culture feeling empowered enough to tell us all what hip-hop culture is and how to be it. All right, let me break it down a bit more for some of you who might not quite get where we're going yet, right? That's like, say, me, a black man who was born in the Caribbean around other black people and then grew up in New York around more black people to decide one day, hey, I like Japanese culture, more specifically, everything to do with the Yakuza. And I don't know, maybe I even live in Japan for like 2 to 3 months watching Yakuza movies and, talking to people about the Yakuza and, just observing a bunch of things, never actually joining the Yakuza myself or anything like that or doing anything Yakuza related. And then I come back to New York or the Caribbean or wherever and then decide, yeah, I'm going to be an authority on the Yakuza and tell you guys how to be a Yakuza. Like, who the fuck do I think I am? Privilege. That's who I think I am. And that's what I think Dena Rizzo is. Privileged enough to have the audacity and the confidence to be empowered to speak on something that she's not from in such an authoritative manner. You see, having this type of privilege, and we're calling it white privilege for now, but let's take the race out of it for a second, because really it is more of a version of classism. So let's take, I don't know, like royalty from back in the day. There's this air of superiority that comes with being at the top of be upper class. It's like you're better than everyone else, especially if you're born into that. You're just born into a system where you just have a better quality of life than these other people. So what else can you think that they are beneath you? It's like the world is yours and then there's these other people living in it, right? So your group is yours or whatever you decide your tribe is, in this analogy would be the, you know, royalty or the royal family. And then there's these peasants that you have to, you know, tolerate or entertain or whatever. That's the whole concept here, which brings you back to Rachael Gunn. So this white privilege thing, let's be honest, white people are at the top of the social totem pole. It is what it is, like it or not. It comes with this certain level of confidence, a certain perspective, where if you're not grounded or down to earth enough, you really do look at other people like, "Ooh, this is our world." And then there's these people we gotta like tolerate or deal with. I hope you guys are getting the picture of the innate superiority and entitlement that comes along with being having with having white privilege. You feel like you can just take from whatever it is that you're seeing and just replicate it as if it is your own, with your own spin on things. And normally that spin comes because what was being replicated isn't fully understood. Eminem has made a career for himself in rap and hip hop. The difference with Eminem, however, is Eminem immersed himself into the culture. Eminem paid his dues, so to speak. Eminem entered rap competitions and rap battles where this is where the culture is happening. He's put in the work. He lives amongst people of the culture, the same culture that he developed that love for. He practiced and practiced to make sure that, you know, his skills were what the culture would deem, for the very least, adequate. Because he's so engulfed in the culture, he understands what greatness is of that culture, and he won't play himself by doing anything trash. And even when he started receiving his accolades, what did he do? He put his crew on. He brought D12 into the fold. He makes it no secret that, you know, he looked up to a lot of different rappers. Some people probably don't even know that Eminem cites Redman as one of his big inspirations. And basically all throughout his career, as much as, you know, we know as coming from the Slim Shady LP and up, he's paid respect and he's done his best not to disrespect the culture because he's highly knowledgeable of the culture. And at the same time, let me just add this, he still managed to bring his own twist and creativity into the culture with him. He wasn't trying to be specifically like everyone else, because let's be honest, he rapped about some corny shit that not. I know when I was growing up in the hood, I didn't we didn't really resonate with none of the shit that he was saying, but it sounded cool. We respected the fact that he had skill and he came with some very interesting creative twist on the rap music that we like. Not to say he was the only person who, because at some point he would, you could say he fall into like kind of humorous and shock rap, which existed prior to him, but it's, you know, it was very niche. But nonetheless, he did it in his own way. He spoke about his own experiences. You see where I'm going with this? That's what someone does when they're really immersing themselves in a culture and not flexing their white privilege card. Not to say Eminem did not benefit from white privilege because he's white. It's just gonna happen. You can't escape it. But what I respect about Eminem is he didn't really flex it, or he didn't let it delude him. Which brings me back to Rachael Gunn. Because of Rachael Gunn's white privilege, she was very deluded in how she participated in breakdancing. So if you immerse yourself in a culture, then you would do your due diligence to understand as much as possible as you can about this culture, and so you can excel in it, so that you could know that certain things won't fly in that culture. Because if she was in tune with breakdancing culture, she would know that some of those dumbass moves that she did under the guise of creativity were just dumbass moves that weren't going to fly in breakdancing. Her routine came off as a mockery of the sport even. But the white privilege, the entitlement, the sense of superiority, and I'm not saying that she's a white supremacist or anything like that, or she's racist or none of those things. But once again, when you are in a certain position in life, subconsciously you just behave in a certain manner, not realizing what you're doing, and there's no real ill intent. Now I wanted to give you all some other examples which I lump Rachael Gunn into that same section, which kind of shows the power that white privilege has, and the power you are granted when your tribe is at the top of the social totem pole. Remember twerking? I think twerking is undeniably something that originated with black people. But I remember when the twerking craze first started, because and this is way back. This is so many years back, and I remember Miss Twerksome was she was like one of the pioneers of it, so to speak. But you know who got the most fanfare, who got the most attention that pushed them to a certain level of popularity? It's a bunch of white girls. Let me show you. So this video, whatever, I can't even pronounce that. Whatever this festival is Major Lazer featuring Twerk Queen. When you read that, who do you think you're gonna see? This is the Twerk Queen right here. Ladies and gentlemen, Twerk Queen. This white lady. Let me just stop it real quick. The funniest thing about twerking as well is when white women started really raising up into the hierarchy, what they the top in the top spots when it comes to twerking, is they're not even equipped with the Another white woman who was capitalizing off of the twerking wave was Lexi Pantera. I remember from way back in the day, she was heralded as one of the top women in all of this twerking, when twerking was really popping off, and it wasn't as commonplace as it is now. I want to go to one of her oldest videos because it looks like she's doing some other shit now. She's really taking, you see, she's taking what she started with the twerking, and look, she's creating a whole like career out of that shit. So basically, she took the whole twerking thing and made it into like a fitness thing, which a lot of white women did do back in the day. That you would take different dances and make a whole fitness routine out of it and capitalize off of that. And Lexi saw, well, I could do that with twerking. Once again, and maybe this is my black bias or whatever, but the women who are doing it are such the white women who are taking twerking and running with it seemed ill-equipped in comparison to the black women where it originated, who we look at as top-tier twerkers. You understand what I'm saying? For those who probably don't know who Lexi Pantera is, let me try to find all right, like, let's say this. I got the picture, right? Now I had Lexi Pantera, this other woman who called herself Twerk Queen, the hip hop instructor lady, Dena. If they didn't have white privilege to prop them up, they would not have seen. They would not be empowered to do what they have done. They would not feel that it was okay to represent a culture that they're not part of in the way that they have and try to capitalize off of said culture. And this brings me full circle back to Rachael Gunn, because this is the same thing that she did. Her white privilege allowed her to be able to get as far as the Olympics with such lackluster skill. A black person could never. Anywho, that's my 2 cents about the situation, and that is why I believe that the whole Rachael Gunn debacle is just another example of white privilege. What do you think? Jump in the comments or stalk me on social media and give me a piece of your mind. And of course, be sure to check out some of my other videos where I'm talking more trash and talking about anime and maybe doing some DJ mixes. Whichever ones you decide to get into, I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.